Visit us for thought-provoking and insightful market opinions in text, audio, and video at howestreet.com. HOWESTREET.com.
Welcome to goldradio.fm, the online radio source for market opinions. Here is Tom Jeffries.
Founder of the Trends Research Institute back in 1980, our guest Gerald Celente is a pioneer trend strategist. Put those in capitals, pal. He's author of the national bestseller Trends 2000 and Trend Tracking that was published by Warner Books. I'll tell you about another charming book that Gerald's written in just a couple of minutes. Gerald and his team published the Quarterly Trends Journal, available for subscription at trendsresearch.com. Gerald, good to have you back on Howe Street.
Oh, thanks for having me.
First off, my sincere best to you and your fellow Americans on the anniversary of 9/11. A very sad day, sir.
Well, it's something actually that we had forecast. You could Google up my name, Celente, Celente, in USA Today, December 14th, 2000. And we had predicted that in 2001 Americans wouldn't be safe at home or abroad. And so we saw this coming in some form or another. Of course, we didn't know the way it would happen, but we knew it would happen.
Well, that's one of the trends that you called. I missed. You've called so many, right, Mr. C. Could we, in broadest terms, start out by this? Could we define America as an empire?
Well, you could, because we have military bases all over the world, and we're involved in 2 foreign wars, and the United States influence is far and wide. But actually, America is an empire in decline. The financial crisis is only part of it. And when you look at, for example, any OECD data, Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development data, America no longer wins places or shows in the areas of education, quality of life, healthcare, etc., where it was once number one and the envy of the world. So it is an empire, and it's an empire in collapse following the course of empires past. And you don't have to go back to the Romans. All you have to do is go back to their cousins, the English. Remember, the empire never set on the sun never set on the English Empire.
Right.
And America's following the same course in foreign entanglements, imperial overreach. At a time, of course, the military budget is now 4% larger than it was last year. Wars continue to rage. The treasury becomes depleted, and as the society declines.
At Trends Research, you call a major trend, I just love this, economic slim fast. By that, what do you mean, Gerald?
Well, Americans are going to have to cut down in more ways than one. They're going to have to get back into shape. As a matter of fact, I just returned from Chicago addressing the United States Olympic Committee, and that was one of my advice to them, trend forecasts, is that America has to really change and get back into shape economically, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and morally. And the Olympic Committee, the Olympic team, the Olympic brand is one that is less tarnished than virtually any brand out there. And they could lead such a movement, particularly in the physical field. Americans are the most obese people in the world. They take more prescription drugs than anyone per capita. They take more antidepressants than anyone per capita in the world. So America has to really get on a diet in many different ways, cutting back, moving toward whole health healing, and really reestablishing what made America great. And this isn't rhetoric. Again, only looking at data. America was the most egalitarian nation on earth. When we didn't put Wall Street first, we had Main Street, a very strong one. We didn't have Walmarts. We had mom-and-pop shops. People weren't clerks. They were shopkeepers. And we didn't have factory farms. We had family farms. When you looked at that model, again, we were the most egalitarian nation on earth. Now, the gap between the rich and the poor is the widest in the United States than any of the industrialized nations.
Well, Gerald, guess what we're seeing sprouting up over Vancouver? You've talked about this as one of your major trends. City garden plots. Is this a trend worth watching?
It certainly is. And again, as you mentioned, we did write about it in the recent Trends Journal. But even longer ago, in my book, Trends 2000, which came out in 1997, edible landscaping, we called it. And we're going to see more and more of it. people are going to have to force, the people are going to be forced into becoming more self-sustaining. The money's not there anymore. Look at the unemployment numbers. The effective unemployment rate in the United States, when you add in people that are no longer looking for jobs, they've given up, the discouraged workers, they're looking for jobs and can't find any, or they're working part-time, the effective rate is 19%,
Yikes.
not the 9.7% that they're putting out there. And let's remember that the Obama administration had predicted that without the stimulus package, we'd have 8% unemployment in 2009. They have to create 127,000 jobs a month, accounting for population growth. And the last numbers that came out, we're losing about 260,000 a month.
Pretty stark numbers. Just switching to media for a second. The media landscape as we speak, Gerald, is changing at light speed. Radio stations, TV, newspapers, all in dire straits. What do you make of the wreckage in traditional media?
Well, actually, we're actually writing about that right now in the Autumn Trends Journal of the least visionary industries in that I've ever seen has to be the newspaper and publishing business giving away their content for free when the Internet revolution began in the mid-1990s. Who could have come up with such a stupid model? And everyone followed it. And as you well know and mentioned, we're seeing a consolidation in all media, and it also happened because of the major buyouts and leveraged buyouts that and mergers and acquisitions that happened, where major companies took up too much of their, they gobbled up too much, they became too greedy, programming became homogeneous, and it lacked creativity. So it was a very predictable trend, and it's only going to get worse as the Internet continues to take more and more business from the mainstream.
Our guest is Gerald Celente. If you haven't met Mr. Celente and team, it's transresearch.com. I'm surprised you haven't seen Mr. Celente on TV recently. Lucky for us, he's on just about every night. Thank God. The war on drugs. How goes the battle, do you think, Mr. C?
Well, that has to be one of the dumbest wars ever fought. I mean, it's been a losing war. I love it. They keep coming up with these drug czars.
Yeah.
We're going to start seeing a more rational approach to this. And let's understand, of course, that a lot of the regulations that had been put into place, the anti-drug legislation, came about actually during the Great Depression. They blamed a lot of the troubles going on the Mexicans, the cheap labor coming into the country, and blamed their habits in marijuana, etc., for the increases in crime. And we're going to start seeing a decriminalization of marijuana. It has to happen. The jails are packed with first-time offenders and light users, and we need more rational policy. So we expect to see a decriminalization.
In that mix, too, back in the 30s, they just blanket weed got out the window, but along with the baby on the bathwater went hemp. And hemp is proven in many eras as a wonderful plant in many ways to do a lot of different things, from oil to make clothing. I mean, again, they just missed the boat, didn't they?
Well, it's the hypocrisy of the, it's the same people like these guys, what was his name, and the governor of South Carolina,